Okay, it's just before Christmas, like on the 21st of December, and this is going to be episode number 4 of the route series. And we're switching it up a bit because we are now going to do a part of Durrance Lake and Partridge Hills. So we have just entered in off of Willis Point Road. If people are familiar at all with that area, the entrance for Testament, which is what I'm on, is just sort of across from the start of 7. So we're going to take this all the way to the east end of the lake. So we won't be doing the entirety of Testament because it actually is around 1 kilometer long or so, and it pops back out onto Willis Point Road. So so we're at the west end of it for the start. The east end of it is pretty good. It doesn't get ridden near as much, but it's also fun. So, and I've got an individual trail videos for both directions of Testament. So we'll take this and we'll carry on until we get to the east end of Durrance Lake, and then we'll carry on. So Testament is rocky and rooty, and the area that I'm in right now usually gets really swampy in the winter, but it's not bad right now. And coming up in this area is where some trees are down, but I believe someone has built a little bypass trail, so we're going to take that and try and climb that. Power up that, very good. Now we enter this portion of Testament, and it actually flattens out quite a bit until we get to much more rocky and rootier areas. So we're just getting back into the rockier, rootier areas after the area that was flat, which did have a tree that was down. So we got off the bike. It was a relatively big tree, and you could certainly try and get over it if you chose, but I don't really want to wreck my bike in any way, so I just got off. So we got a little bit of a down portion coming up in a second. It's quite wet, so just maintain some speed and good control. Someone built a braid off to my left. I just take the original route. And then we're going to come on to the down right here. Nothing too big a deal about it. Then we go back onto the flat. So at this point you come to you can see the lake on your left, so you head towards the lake and you leave Testament. You can keep going to the other end of it if you chose, but you would just pop out to Willis Point Road. Whereas if you take this, you come out to the lake and then you ride for a bit until you get into Partridge. So you exit, come out to the service road. Go up the service road, turn left, and then there'll be a climb. So you ride up along the side of the lake, and then there'll be a trail going up, and that's Partridge Connector. So we're going to climb up that. And then at the end of this, it just pops out to another service road. I'll put the names of the service roads on the video. And then we just turn to our left and climb up until we intersect with Danger Trail. So we've climbed up the service road about 100 meters. And then I do a right for this route. And we're going to head to Danger Trail. Now, what we're on right now, I believe, is considered Danger Trail. It's on trail forks, but it's sort of been doled out as being a trail. they've marked another trail on the other side of the mountain as a blue danger trail, but this is not it. This is an all mountain trail, which would be Black Diamond, and there's a climb to it, pretty big climb, and then there'll be a descent. So you come into a bit of a fork and you take the left, and then you start your climb. It's a pretty easy climb at the very beginning, and then it gradually gets more difficult. So this is where the climb starts getting a little more difficult, a little more grade. Completely makeable though, it's more of a cardio challenge than anything else. So we've been climbing for a couple minutes, and we're going to be, it's on a flat now, and we are going to be coming up to a left-hand turn, and you might notice a trail that's on your right as you do the left-hand turn, and that trail is Travel Agent. We're not doing that today as a part of this route, we'll do it in the future. Fun trail, been around for a couple of years, but we're carrying on with the Danger Trail climb. So we're coming to the final part of the climb, and I believe this is called Coal Hill Lookout. If it's not, I'll put a nameplate for it. So if you look off to your right, it's shrouded in clouds and fog right now, but you do have on a nice day, it's a nice view. But we take a left, which is your only option, and we stay on Danger Trail. Then you enter a rock garden that's very mossy. Now I go to the far left of this, and it's easy to slip out because it's quite swampy. Just do your best to ride through it. Little slip. Now if you look straight on, that climb takes you to a newer trail, not on Trail Forks, called Guns N' Roses. Might be considered a double black. I'm not sure, I've only ever ridden it sort of once. The beginning slab was a little over my head, so the rest wasn't too bad though. So we're starting a little bit of the descent for Danger Trail. A bit of a down portion. Nothing too steep. Just modulate your brakes so you have good control. Even though it's wet, it's not too bad. Haven't had too many slips or anything. Hopefully those aren't famous last words. So we're quickly coming to the end of the down portion for Danger Trail. We're not finished Danger Trail yet, but what we do is we cross a creek and then we sort of climb out to the service road. So across the creek, not too much water yet. We do a left around the fence and climb up to the service road. There's a couple of steeper climbs which we'll get to in a second. Okay, and this is the first little climb. Pick a good line, keep pedaling. That's pretty much it for the climb. All right, now we have one final climb to finish off Danger Trail. And for those that are still watching, because I've bored you to death, and you're not from this area, Partridge Hills is quite close to Heartland. Like, as the crow flies, like, not far at all, like, less than a kilometer for sure, probably half a kilometer. So, we're very lucky in Victoria for the different trail systems we have. So I'm out on the service road. I did a left. And we're going to stay on this little service road. Then we're turning right on another service road. I'll put nameplates up for what they're called. So a right turn here, right where the sign post is. I don't think there's anything on the sign at this point. So we took a right, and then we're going to do another right onto another service road, and then a left when we get to the top of the little hill. So we took a left, and we're still on the same connector trail, because coming up is a single track trail that's a continuation of what the service road name would be. But we're going to go through that, and we're going to be on Kitty Connector, and then we're going to take a right on S Kitty, and it's considered a black diamond trail. There's only really one sort of interesting spot, but each his own. So we'll carry on this trail. Okay, so we're still on S Kitty, and coming up is what I would call the one sort of difficult spot. So you gotta go over some roots, and then you need to go in a little bit and then do a tight turn. Very good. Up onto the rock face, and there's a rock roll to my left there. And then we have one more sort of punchy climb, and then it flattens out considerably. There we go. So we'll make our way to the end of S Kitty, and then straight on to Levitate. Okay, we're finishing S Kitty. Should go straight across the service road right into Levitate. And this first section of Levitate is rocky and rooty. Just sort of need to pick a line and give it a go and see how it works out for you. Very good. So we're still on Levitate, and you come to a bit of a junction spot. So to carry on with Levitate, we go to the right, but to your left will be the bottom of Watchdog and Watchdog Connector. So we go right, and we do a punchy little climb up Levitate. Very good. Now we're climbing up quite a wet, rocky area of Levitate, and you got to shoot through an old stump. Very good. And then you carry straight on over some roots, and then again there will be another junction, and you need to turn left. And when you see some fencing, turn left, and then Levitate will be your first on the right. Really your only choice on the right. And then the rest of the climb is actually pretty easy up until you get to a clearing, which I call the meadow. And then some other trails begin there. Okay, so we're up into what I call the meadow. You could almost call it a corral now because there's so much fencing. And we go straight through. For reference purposes, Guardrail is on your right. We'll be coming back to that. We stay on Levitate, and then we're going to do a left-hand turn. And now we're on Sadie's Woods, which is a blue intermediate trail. A lot of the trails today will be blue intermediate, because really that's what Partridge has a lot of, which is really good because not everything can be super difficult, and even in these conditions nothing's super easy because you're slipping and sliding. So Sadie's Woods is rocky and rooty like everything else. And you just sort of try and pick a good line and do your best making your way through the stuff. So we're still on Sadie's Woods, and we intersect for the trail, and it forks. So it's all Sadie's Woods, so you can go up onto the lookout, which I'm going to do, or you could stay right and make your life simple. But as I try and not make anything simple, I'm going to try and climb this feature and then do the tiny downhill on the other side. We've got to step up here. Very good. Nicely done. And then you come out to the flat in the clearing. And then there's a right and a left ascent. Neither of them are particularly difficult. And they basically end up in the same spot. So on the flat you have a choice. You can try and do the rock slab, climbing it to the left, which I'm not going to do because I'll do it in the dry and I'm sometimes successful. In the wet it's too risky, so I just do a bit of a right and then line myself up to climb up a steeper sort of service road. Okay, so we're climbing this service road now. Quite steep. Just keep going. Have it in a nice gear. So I had a bit of slip right at the top of the climb. Didn't quite make it. Too bad. Next time. So we're still on Sadie's Woods. Until we get to the Partridge Summit Trail. We now left Sadie's Woods and we're on the Partridge Summit Trail. And basically it's just it transitions into a sort of circular trail, which you have some options. And we're going to be taking northwest downhill. All right, and then we come to the lookout, and you can actually see some stuff. If you look straight out, you can probably not see it on the video, but that's where the lookout is on the Malahat, where they charge you like 40 bucks to look across at us. So we did a right-hand turn, and we're going to make our way over to Northwest Downhill. So the body of water that you would have been looking at, if you could have seen it through the clouds, would have been Saanich Inlet. Okay, so the Northwest Downhill, which will be starting in a second, is a black diamond descent trail. Just keep good control. We're on a bit of a rock slab right now. Let's see how it goes. A bit spicy there. More steeper little descent. So we flubbed up the little descent, so we're going to try again. Going to get better lined up. Much better. And then you come to a service road, you cross that, and you stay on Northwest Downhill, even though this portion of the downhill is really flat. We'll have one more descent coming up. So here the Northwest Downhill goes to the right. I go past the fencing just so I can do a little bit of a down that connects back into Northwest Downhill. So I go past the fencing and to the right. And then nice control. And then do a left-hand turn and go down the rest of the downhill to the bottom of it. And that's it for Northwest Downhill. We'll take a left on the service road. So we stayed on the service road for a minute or two, and then we took a left on Willis Point, and now we're going to be climbing. I just did a left onto Saturn, Lower Saturn. We're going to climb that and see how it goes. It's a blue intermediate two-way trail. A lot of people come down it. I haven't seen anybody riding today, so it's probably just me. And there's one portion that's a little more difficult than the rest, and we're coming up to it. You just got to do a tighter right-hand turn and do a climb. There's some debris down, but we'll see if we can get through it. It's good so far. And the left, and then it flattens out. Very good. Okay, we're pretty much at the top of Lower Saturn, and we're right at the spot where I went down and intersected Northwest Downhill. So we go past the fencing, we're back on a Northwest Downhill, but the flat portion of it. And so we stay on this until we get back to the service road, which isn't very far. All right, and we're just about at the junction point, so we're going to turn left. I think it's called double satellite track. And then once you do that, you go down probably 20 yards and turn right. And now you're on Upper Saturn. And then we're coming to the final climb out of Upper Saturn, and then we'll be back in the meadow. Okay, we're back in the meadow, and then we do a left-hand turn and we enter on the Black Diamond Trail guardrail. So here we go. And we go across the Servicey kind of road, up a little rock face, and down, and then we go down to the next little Servicey road, and then straight across into guardrail. Good. And we come to a bit of a punchy climb. Very good. Now we're doing a bit of a down that is a bit of a steeper switchbacky. So just maintain decent speed, have a good line. I almost blew it there, but there's a big rut. That was easy enough. And then we got a punchy climb again. Very good. And this spot here can be a little tricky because you got some off-camber rocks you have to navigate going up and down. See how it goes. And then up. So it went well. I sort of lifted my back tire, so I didn't really connect with the off-camber route. It worked out. So we're quickly coming to the end of guardrail. You have a choice to make the easier route is to the left. The other one to the right isn't too hard, but there's some off-camber slippery rocks that you have to be conscious of. So just give it a go. And then at the bottom of it, we go straight across. So good. And then down and to the right, and then we'll cross the service road and into the trail there. Now, I don't think this trail is on Trail Forks, but it connects you over to get closer to Kitty Connector. And we're quickly coming to the end of this little connector trail I'm on. And we'll go back on, do a right on the service road, and then a left on Kitty Connector. So now we're going to be on Kitty Connector for a little touch, and then we're going to do a bit of a left under Urge. If we went right there, we'd been on S Kitty again as we were earlier. So we're on Urge now, which is a Black Diamond all mountain trail. Has some descent portions as well as punchier climbs. Some rock features. And so we're still on Urge, and we're going to climb up onto a rock feature and then do the rock roll down. Up. So not too much brake control, as always. And then down the rock roll. Now you can go right here. I never have. I always just go straight, then do a tight right turn. And then we go into another down. And then we enter into a rock garden kind of area and then roll down the rock garden. Just pick a good line, not too much brake. Let the bike work for you. Very good. So we're quickly coming to the end of Urge, and we'll be coming onto a service road. And this is the same service road that we climbed up from when we came up on Partridge Connector. But we're going to go straight across, and we're going to intersect. This is some sort of connector trail. We'll call it Danger Trail Connector, I don't know. And then we'll enter on, do a right on Danger Trail, which we were on previously. And then we're going to, our second to last trail will be Durrance in Your Pants, which is a relatively new trail, probably been around a year or so that I know of. So you take the right off of Danger Trail, and this is Durrance in Your Pants. There's a sign a little bit later on. That's the only reason I know the name, because it's not on Trail Forks. And it's not a very long trail, but it's better than just taking the little out trail. So there's our sign for Durrance in the Pants down a rock side. Just nice control. Get as much speed as you want. I don't get a lot. If you watch my videos, you know I don't go fast. And then the final little exit out onto the service road, and we'll be just east of the lake. So turn right, and you'll be going towards the lake. And then when you get to the east end of the lake, you do a left on the service road, and then we're going to shoot back into Testament and reverse what we did coming in. So to get in, you got to go through a puddly area and some rooty sections. So you sort of just fire into it. Nice job. So this section's very rocky, very rooty. Try and take a straight line, or you'll just slip out. So we just finished off the flat little section. Now we're going to go into the rocky rooty section that had the new little bypass trail because the trees were down. We're going to descend that after climbing it last time. There we go. Nice and easy. All done. All right, and we're quickly coming to the end of the west end of Testament. And we'll be coming out at Willis Point Road, so you got to fire up this little hill through the rocks and the roots, and then out to Willis Point Road. Very good. That's it. So that's the end of episode 4 of the Route series. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you for the next one, wherever that may be.